What's going on YouTube? Hey guys, it's Ben. Thank you so much for checking out my channel again. Today I'm going to tell you how to choose a recruiting niche and why you need to choose a recruiting niche. So if you don't know exactly what a niche is, or if you're absolutely brand new to recruiting or the word niche in general, a niche is basically a specialty. It's a sector or segment of the market in which a recruiter works to find prospects and clients and candidates and basically puts all of their energy into that market alone. So it could be something like construction or the medical field or one of those. So choosing a niche is basically like choosing your specialty in recruiting. So for those of you that are just setting up a recruiting agency, or you've already started your recruiting agency and you're just looking into what you should niche down into, this is sort of a recipe or a guide that you can use to basically identify what's going to be best for you, what's going to be most profitable, and what's just going to work out the best. So let's get right into it. So the first thing to look at when you're choosing a niche is demand. So you want to find out what the demand is for certain jobs in the marketplace at the current time. So maybe it's medical, maybe it's construction, it could be, IT. Usually those are among the top three, but it always changes depending on, the economy and the government and whatnot. But usually there's going to be some sort of high demand for a specific sector of jobs, and that's going to be a really good indicator as far as what your niche could be for if you want to go for something that's high demand, because that means there'll be a little less competition for it, and it'll mean you'll have a good guarantee that you're going to have a lot of opportunities to fill positions in that niche. So that's one thing to check out for sure when deciding your niche. Now, the second thing you want to do is audit yourself and audit your own experiences and skills. So the old adage, sell what you know, is something that applies here, because you want to look at what you've done previously and your past careers or things that you just know about in general. So maybe you've spent 10 years working in IT and you've been a software developer. IT might just be your niche. Maybe you were formerly a foreman on a construction site for a couple years and you know the ins and outs of construction. So construction could be your niche. It goes without saying that you just need to look at whatever skills you have and whatever you vibe with, that might be your niche. So take a good audit of yourself and really put effort into this. Put it down on paper. Say, what am I good at? What things really vibe? What do I understand, in and out, truly, because you're going to have to be dealing with clients and candidates in this niche. And so really the niche should be something that you understand inside and out. So auditing your own skills, your own experiences is definitely a critical way that you can further down niche to identify your actual niche. Another thing you can do is identify your capabilities. Okay, so not everyone is going to be able to talk the talk at a high level with a senior technology manager, right? Not everyone's going to be able to talk construction with a foreman or a superintendent or a construction manager, right? And not everybody's going to be able to talk the talk with anyone in the medical field, right? So you need to audit your own capabilities and find out if you can even discuss Python development with a Python developer or a senior manager of a tech company, right? Or if you can discuss, the need for nurses and what type of nurses and all of that sort of jargon, right? Understand your capability, and if you can learn things, that's even better. So if you're just, someone that's been in sales, but you really know how to learn technology, terms and jargon and concepts, then maybe you can squeeze into the IT niche, right? Who knows? Or maybe if you've worked in construction before, maybe you can still squeeze into medical if you can learn very well. So understand your own capabilities and your own strengths and weaknesses there, and that'll help you a lot in determining what your niche can be. The next step I would take is to test some more. So this is really the only way you're going to figure out your actual niche, right? Find out what works by actually putting it into practice. So reach out to hiring managers at construction companies, at tech companies, at medical companies, right? So try to find decision makers, high-level people that can actually give you contracts, maybe for CNAs in the medical field, or for some software developers at an IT company, or maybe just some superintendents, or even construction laborers in construction. And maybe if you can make a deal doing that, then you've found some success and you've gone further down the pathway of figuring out what's best for your niche. But if you do have success in something, follow that pathway even further and go on the candidate side. Now try to talk to candidates and see if you can source them into those positions and actually make a deal out of that. And once you've proven the model to yourself, go ahead and test it again and prove it again. And that's usually the telltale. Once you've proven something maybe twice or 3 times, then you can actually say, this could be my actual niche. So testing is the absolute kind of finality of determining your niche and if it's going to work for you. Because if anything, you can learn what you need to learn from there if you don't have it all the way down. Cool. So once you've figured out a niche, I want to explain why it's important to have a niche in the recruiting business. So the first reason having a niche is super important is that you cannot be everything to everybody. So this is where people say you can't be a generalist, you need to be a specialist. And that really applies here in recruiting as well, because being a generalist is sort of a jack of all trades. Being a specialist means you know very specific things about the industry and about the specific niche that you've chosen, and it'll just aid you in so many ways if you're a specialist rather than a generalist. The other thing that's super cool about niching down is you eventually become the go-to person. So who doesn't want to be the go-to, right? So eventually, once you've performed well in the niche, and I'm talking about maybe a year, 2 years, and so on and so forth, you can become the go-to guy or gal in that niche, which means people spread your name around, they start talking about you, and hopefully they say, oh yeah, you need a construction guy, you definitely want to contact Ben Nader, he's the guy, he's got all the candidates, and he'll treat you really well, and all that stuff. So you become a go-to, which is super cool because you basically then get referrals and repeat business, and that can add up. The next thing I would say about having a niche is that it actually pays to have a niche. And what I mean by that is literal dollars and cents. So when you're in a niche, you know the market, you know the ins, the outs, you know the competitors, you know the players, you know the projects, you know everything that's going on in that market. And so when you know that stuff, you know what people are charging in fees, you know what projects are coming up, you know the owners of the companies, you know pretty much everything. And so therefore, you actually know what you can charge, what you can't charge, who you can undercut, who you can't undercut. You can build and develop awesome relationships within that niche market, within a metropolitan area at least, or across the country if you're doing business like that. And you can charge extra specifically because you can deliver extra being a specific niche player. The really cool part about having a niche is that it's easy. It's easier on you and it's easier on the client. So what's better than working on 10 different job requisites that are all in 10 different niches versus one job requisite or 10 job requisites that are all in one niche? So when I go on LinkedIn and I do some sourcing, I want to search for one type of job position, right? I'm looking for a software developer or something of that nature, rather than searching for 10 different roles that I want to fill that all have different search criteria. I have to identify credentials that are all on different levels, different wavelengths, different strengths, weaknesses, all of it. It just makes it so much easier on you to have one niche that you can compare everybody to and just go off of that niche only, and it makes it super, super easy. So if it isn't already apparent, it's pretty much a requirement to have a niche and be successful in the recruiting business. So I would highly recommend that you go through this video and identify every single step, take them all step by step, and figure out what your niche is going to be. And make sure that that niche is going to be profitable, it's going to be beneficial for you, it's going to be easy, simple, something that vibes and works for you specifically so that you can make a ton of money in recruiting rather than just kind of putzing around working on 10 different niches in 10 different areas and not really getting anywhere. That's all I've got today, guys, for Wednesday. I will most definitely catch you on Thursday. If you find any of this valuable, definitely smash the subscribe button as well as the like button, please, if you would. We're coming up close on 1,100 subs right now, and I would be super amped to see this go over 1,100 and beyond. So I will catch you guys Thursday. Take care.